In this video, we'll kick off our editing process. So we are on the other side of the Capture One live process that we looked at in our last video. If you remember, we ended there when we sent off the link to our client so they can pick their favorite photos. I can pull open the Capture One live that we saw in our last video here. So we sent this off and they went through their process basically was to, in this case, she just added stars to the ones that she really liked, made them 5 stars. So in real time, if we were to do this in real time, we could see on the other end those stars start coming in through Capture One in our session, which is really, really cool. So we can see here, I haven't done anything else inside of Capture One, but we can see we have 142 photos that she went through the web browser to add those stars to. So I know that those are the photos that we need to edit. So I can filter here and see these are the photos that we're going to start editing here inside of, starting with Capture One, and then we'll pull those into Photoshop. All right, so it might take a second here. It's pulling in the previews for these. Here they come, start coming in here. So we can see, get an idea what these look like. So my process here is I'm going to start with some color correction here in Capture One before we bring it into Photoshop for some more fine details. So really for this first round of editing, all I'm concerned with is the color adjustment. So I'm going to hop into the adjustments here. And I always like to start with an automatic and then go from there. So in this case, I know that her boots were actually gold, or I'm sorry, not gold, silver. So they'll be good to white balance off of to see what that looks like. Kind of get an idea of what it was like in the shot or on set. In this case, you know, out in the middle of nowhere where we shot this. So we can see. There we go. Just see a little bit better here. I'm on a Windows computer, so I could do Control B to close the browser. It's Command B on a Mac, just to give a little bit more space as we're doing some color correction here. And a lot of this, you'll notice there was some already in here. For this particular shot, I remember it was very bright. So if I reset, this is what the original shot was. So before I sent it to her, I actually did come in and just do an auto adjust just so it'd be easier to see. I knew that I would be coming in and doing some edits anyway inside of Capture One. So just so it'd be easier to see that this is not a completely washed out photo. It's still a photo that we could use if it's something that she wanted to use. And as you can see, it looks like it is. So what settings we do are really going to depend on the image, as well as your own personal preference, right? That's where a lot of this creativity comes in. In my case, what I'm trying to do is to get some contrast. So I know the background is very minimal, and then she's going to pop off the background, which is really some of the point of this whole shoot is that, you know, there's a minimal background, and then she's got this bright outfit that's going to bounce off of it. I also like a little slightly warmer tint to it, just because it is in the desert, way out in the middle of nowhere. And so you kind of expect the desert to be warmer and give a little bit warmer. Plus she's got a warmer outfit on. Maybe something like that. And then add a little bit of contrast here. So with the curve, I do a little bit of an S curve. So bring up the brightness a little bit. And then bring down the darker side. There we go. Maybe something like that. Actually, some of this detail in here. Pull some of this back out. So for some of this, I'm losing some of this detail in here. And I want to pull some of that back. Go. I think really what it is that because it is a lot of the same color right there, is blending just a little bit too much for my liking. And again, it's a personal taste, right? That's where a lot of this is. Really, with any photography, when you're coming up with a creative concept, if there's clients involved, like in this case, if there's clients involved, obviously they have to approve things, but you have the benefit of going in and adding your own creative touch to it. And in this case, so I know she had sent along some inspiration shots that are very bright. And so I know that she wants them to be a little brighter. We are out in the desert, of course, so it's not going to be a dark look. So knowing that in the back of my mind is something that I'm using as inspiration for some of these edits. I'm going to pull this out, actually. I'm still not happy with how that's losing that detail there. Okay. So I'm happy with that as a base. Again, this is the first step here. So what I'm going to do now, if I remember right, it's these 4 here that I ran the auto adjust on. Nope, that one doesn't have any edits on it. This one doesn't. Okay. Oh, that's right, because obviously these are filtered. So yeah, so this was the only one that really had that auto adjust on it. So if I were to copy this, copy my settings, which is, I use the keyboard shortcut, Control-Shift-C. It's also right here. Couldn't remember where it was down here in the right click, but that's fine. Control-Shift-C, Command-Shift-C if you're on a Mac, and then Control-Shift-V, or adjustments, apply adjustments, and that's going to copy that over here. Now you can see for this one, because this shot was just a lot brighter, if you remember, when we reset, this one is not really going to work. It's going to be a little bit dark. So this video is starting to run a little bit long here. So what we'll do is let's move on to the next video where we will edit this one, similar to what we did with that first one. But this one, hopefully we can use on more images and then copy that on. So see you in the next video where we're going to start editing this one.